From your breaking news and weather authority, this is 13 Wham News at 6. Now in high definition.
You need to prove to us that it is safe to put our children in this school.
When people ask the question, we're going to find the answer.
A public meeting today in LeRoy draws a couple hundred people, many of whom asking, what's happening to our kids? Good evening, I'm Adam CHODAK. The superintendent in LeRoy says there's no chemical in the ground or bug in the air that's caused a group of students to develop Tourette-like symptoms. Still, as a double check of sorts, she announced today a second round of testing. She talked about this at a community meeting this morning. 13 Wham's Chris Conte was there. And Chris, you saw a lot of questions and concerns on the part of parents there.
Yeah, and yelling at them. All the frustration, all the anger, all the confusion over what's getting students sick in LeRoy was bottled up into one high school auditorium today. And as you can imagine, it made for quite an interesting morning. Your eyes would see this as a typical news conference.
There has been no connection environmentally to these ticks.
But your ears
we will determine where to do the soil samples.
Would hear something much different.
But it is clear to us that our community needs some reassurance.
The sun had barely started rising over LeRoy High School when the questions began.
Did you see anything in there to indicate that the school is not safe?
No, I did not.
And when time for reporters was up.
And you're saying that it's not environmental. I'm just wondering how you can say that.
Parents decided it was their turn.
This is going to take years. We want to know now what's going on. What are you doing to protect my kid? What are you doing to protect these people's children?
No expert came to us and said, there's a problem in LeRoy.
It went on like this for 45 minutes, and in a town so tightly wound with fear, confusion, and media attention, the cord appeared to have snapped.
You are not doing your job. You are not doing your job at all.
And not answering the question.
Assuring an auditorium full of people that their children are safe is not an easy task. Assuring an entire community of that is an even tougher one.
We have to look at this deeper. And we did testing. We did water testing. We did air testing.
None of the 12 girls who've developed those Tourette-like tics linked to conversion disorder was in the crowd, but their parents were.
I'm not looking for a lawsuit of any kind. I just want my daughter to be better.
To try and figure out how this all happened, an independent company will perform more air quality tests over the next few weeks.
Everyone needs to put the focus back on the kids. Let's help the kids get better, and let's calm down and let people do their jobs.
And while their time for questions had ended, parents are still waiting to see and hear more answers. There were a lot of questions today about whether the soil on school grounds is going to be tested. That could happen, but officials are going to wait for the results of a second air quality test before they begin that process. And Adam, it's probably going to be about 2 weeks before that air quality test is over and done with.
And Chris, on your way out of town, you were saying you did run into some EPA workers.
Yeah, we actually did. It was right on the edge of town along Gulf Road. That's the site of a 1970 train derailment that dumped chemicals into the ground. Now, the EPA had workers out there in hazmat suits testing that area. They've actually been out there since last week. We also ran into Congresswoman Kathy Hochul, who showed up briefly to survey the work.
I'm going to continue visiting the local officials here, and that's what we just want to do is let them know we want to help them any way we can. So.
Now, that is the same spot that you might recall that Erin Brockovich's crew targeted last week when they were in town. And Adam, it just seems to be that this whole thing keeps going, and people are just really looking for answers and wondering where it's going to end.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Chris.